While the world was waiting for the Barbenheimer release, being excited for it being the largest release of this year, I on the other hand was more excited for Godzilla Minus One cause I have been waiting for this thing ever since I heard about the Japanese developing yet another fresh Godzilla story. And the trailer did not disappoint, it just came out 3 days ago and I have probably watched it like 300 times or something within that time. So why waste any more time? Hi, I'm Ninja from PCD Productions and let's just get down to it and break down the trailer of Godzilla Minus One. As soon as the trailer starts out, there is no time wasted as it immediately starts with alarms going off and crowds of people running away from something big, as someone calls it. What is it? I don't know. Something big. The people themselves don't know what they are being attacked by. Yet another nuclear weapon maybe? They have no idea as they run away. We see a shot of our main lead and then two train drivers who are screaming at the sight of something. We as the audience know who they are shouting at. As an entire train engine or carriage is thrown from the air and crash lands on the tracks. And of course we as the audience know who has done that as we then hear his footsteps. Before we get to see a shot of a snout appearing slowly from the smoke. We see a quick glimpse before it cuts to black. We then see Godzilla in the most creative way possible as his reflection approaches the main lead actress who is shivering in fear and confusion, asking, "Is that Godzilla?" We then see that amazing shot from the teaser of Godzilla biting down on a train. This is probably the scene just before he throws it onto the tracks. And then we see a scary shot of Godzilla just absolutely destroying buildings, obliterating them with a single swipe of his tail as people on the road are trying to escape but get destroyed by the building and his tail. Our leads are framed in front of the shot, running away from the tail as it slowly approaches them, only for us to anticipate what will happen to them. And yet another scary and terrifying shot of Godzilla stomping the ground and on the people. And finally we get to see some realistic physics in a Godzilla movie where the ground crumbles and pops up, you could say. And I have to mention the haunting music, which is definitely cementing this movie's position as the most terrifying Godzilla movie yet. The innocent people running away from him get ragdoll into the air. This is some serious stuff, I'm telling you. I've never seen any Godzilla movie as serious as this one. His footsteps cause a lot of death as well as buildings to topple over as people are hanging on to their lives. We then get to see a drone shot of Godzilla dominating the city and these people with his stomps. He is an absolutely ruthless monster who is actively stomping on people. I'm telling you, never have we ever seen Godzilla actively kill people like this. I swear to God, this movie is going to be something unforgettable. Godzilla in this scene looks like the destroyer of worlds. But you know who is not the destroyer of worlds? Oppenheimer. And I recently made a video covering exactly that, where I decode Oppenheimer's quote and what it actually meant, telling the things from his perspective. I highly recommend all of you to check it out after this video, as I have put the links in both the description as well as in the pinned comment. And if you like this video so far and interested in my channel, please consider subscribing, as a very small percentage of all of you watching are actually subscribed. So hit the subscribe button as well as the notification button to get notified when I drop a video. Now back to Godzilla. We then get to see what seems to be a nuclear explosion, as probably the Americans yet again are bombing Tokyo in a desperate attempt to kill Godzilla. The trailer makes this movie's connections to the atomic bombings very clear, as it clearly mentions that Japan had lost everything. This movie takes place in 47 while the atomic bombings took place in 45. We then get to see a shot of destroyed buildings and Godzilla's path of destruction is apparent. And then we are mentioned that it goes from 0 to -1. Japan had lost everything and Godzilla takes them back to -1. A shot that follows is probably one of my favorite shots from this trailer, as the Japanese took inspiration from the 2014 American movie where Godzilla swims under the battleship. We then get to see a guy standing in what seems to be a beach, looking over at bodies of people lying in a line, which are most probably soldiers who lost their lives to Godzilla's attack in the sea. We then see a guy on a boat and then some government officials looking at the projections of what seems to be the Japanese map, probably trying to hatch a plan on how to stop the King of Monsters. Now, could this movie be similar to the original Godzilla and these people here are actually planning to use the oxygen destroyer against him? Only time will tell, but it is a high possibility according to me. We then see the main lead let out a heart-wrenching scream and then Godzilla grabbing a battleship. And I feel like there will be a major battle in the beginning of the movie where Godzilla faces off against the Navy. And from the shots what we have seen before, the Navy loses and many soldiers lose their lives. And then if you go frame by frame, we get to see a shot which is probably the most badass in the entire trailer, where Godzilla actually uses his atomic breath under the water and destroys the Navy ship. The Navy ship explodes in a way which doesn't make sense to me. Was there some sort of explosive on the ship? Now, what I think is happening here, which might not be the case in the movie, is that the army was trying to transport some sort of atomic weapon to fight off against Godzilla. But Godzilla catches them off guard at night, what it seems to be in this case, letting out his atomic breath and destroying the atomic weapon right there on the spot, since that explosion looks extremely similar to one. We then get to see who seems to be a sailor who most probably escaped the blast, mentioning that everyone is dead. We then see a small boat exploring the wreckage of the ship, which seems to be the ship which fights off against Godzilla in the beginning of the trailer. Since the explosion which happened right now seems to be at night, and that explosion was too big for the ship to survive and stay in one piece. So this possibly indicates that there being two fights with the Navy and Godzilla. And then we see a lady shaming someone who seems to be a soldier and then pushing him away, probably because of some sort of cowardly act of his which led to her losing someone close to her. We then see an entire ship get casually thrown across the entire city by Godzilla himself. And I think this is the very first scene in the movie where he comes ashore. Then one of the most chilling lines in the entire trailer, where the main lead mentions, "That monster will never forgive us." What is Godzilla's intention in this movie? Is he vengeful? Is he angry on the humans? Sure seems to be that case, since Godzilla is extremely intelligent and sentient in this trailer. Just from his move, we can tell that he is actively doing stuff to kill the humans, whether it be stomping them on purpose or that tail swipe which killed so many of them at once. And then finally we get to see a shot of Godzilla coming ashore, where a ship has been already destroyed and is on the beach as a burnt Godzilla stomps onto the ground. We then get the title card of the movie with an amazing artwork of the letter G, Godzilla -1. The trailer ends with a shot of a burnt Godzilla amid smoke and sparks, roaring in absolute anger and what seems to be his burnt form. Since if you have paid attention to the trailer closely, Godzilla seems to have two colors in the movie, one being a dark brown one and the second one being burnt, dark like coal. And the burnt Godzilla we see at the end of the trailer screaming in anger and pain seems to be him after the atomic bombing scene we saw earlier in the trailer. The atomic bomb didn't seem to have killed him, but instead burnt him badly, and now he is pissed. And now we know that the movie will be released internationally on December 1st. That trailer was better than it had any right to be. The production design, the sound design, as well as the VFX are all top notch. The VFX, especially in my opinion, is as good as Hollywood. It's impossible for me to mention how hyped I am for this movie. I loved the trailer and I can't wait to watch it the first chance that I get to. And if you are as hyped for the movie as I am, then please subscribe to my channel, cause I will definitely cover the movie as soon as possible on this channel when it gets released. I will also possibly make a video covering the two Godzilla theories which is revolving around this movie. So like the video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again soon.